Hey guys, and welcome back to Thinking Out Loud, where I challenge perceptions through education and humour, empowering others to be more disability confident. In today's video, you're going to learn how do blind people use technology. In the 21st century, accessibility has reached a stage where anyone with a disability or impairment can use technology straight out of the box, whether that's a laptop, a phone, a watch, or the newest iPod. Apple is my brand of choice, and it's quite simple. When they started releasing the iPhones, they brought out technology that was compatible with screen reading software, enabling blind and low vision users to access a phone just like their sighted peers. At that time, I had a lot of residual vision and I didn't need it for the text-to-speech function, but I did end up buying an iPhone to use it for the zoom features and to enlarge my texts, something that I found great because at that time they were the only people out there that weren't asking you to purchase a third-party software in order to use their devices. I have since stuck with Apple and religiously use their products, even pointing fellow visually impaired people towards them, especially if they are newly diagnosed. So I'm just going to show you how I use my technology. So I'm going to show you my phone, my computer and my watch. And it's just to give you an insight of how blind people with zero sight can use the same technology as you and basically dispel any myths you may have that blind people and technology don't work. The first Apple product I'm going to show you is the iPhone XS. As you can probably hear, it's talking to me right now, and that's because Apple has built-in software called Voiceover. This is a text-to-speech or screen reader enabled piece of software allowing people with visual impairments to use the iPhone just like you can. The difference between you and I using the iPhone is I have to do specific gestures, for example a double tap in order to open the apps that I want to use. That just means that I'm not accidentally calling someone, sending someone a dodgy email or posting an ugly picture to Instagram. So I'm going to show you as I would use my phone, and it will speak quite quickly, but I'll tell you what it says. Messages. And then after that it says double tap to open. So it's giving me the gesture, or it's explaining to me the gesture that I need to use in order to access. Photos. Camera. Contacts. And if I want to go to the next page where my other apps are, I'd put 3 fingers on the screen and swipe right. Page 3 of 4. So now it's telling me I've got YouTube. And all my different folders. If, for example, I wanted to do something specific and I was being lazy, I could use Siri just like you guys could, and all I'd have to do is activate her just like you would. Hey Siri, open books. So she's just opened my books for me. So it's the same way in which you would use it. I use this for quickness, especially for things like accessing. I have lots and lots of folders and lots of apps. And then I'm an avid reader, and most people say to me, well, how can you read because you can't see to read? Well, I use technology like my iPhone that uses the synthesized voices to read my books to me. So that's how I read my books. One of the things I use my phone for is for texting my friends, just like you do. If I wanted to text someone specific, I could, of course, ask Siri to do so, but I generally use the keyboard. I also use dictation, and I use them interchangeably, but I'm going to show you how I would type using the keyboard right now. Cabbage, cabbage, E-E-U-Y-Y, space, 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 can I,
T, more, apostrophe, S, space, shift, canvas, A, S, delete, S, Y, space, Sassy.
So then it says, hey, it's Sassy. Of course my friends would know it was me, but I'm doing it for the purposes of this video. I also slowed down my speech so you guys could hear it, but I have my speech a lot faster on my phone when I'm checking my emails or texting or reading a book, as you heard earlier. The next thing I'm going to show you is my laptop. I use my MacBook for everyday things like checking my mail, going on YouTube, writing my blog posts and editing my videos. I'm just going to show you quickly how I would navigate. Because I have no sight whatsoever, I can't see to use the mouse and I can't see the screen, so I have to learn keyboard shortcuts in order to navigate. I started to have sight problems around the age of 16, and they knew that my sight could deteriorate and get much worse, so I learnt things in school like touch typing, and that's the main skill of how to use a computer when you're visually impaired. They then teach you the extra commands such as the keyboard shortcuts as time goes on, and this is basically how I use it without needing to see.
Doc, mail, 2 new items, open, 5 of 20, notes, 8 of 20, mail, new message.
So it's telling me I've got mail.
Notes, window,
It's now opened my notes.
Notes.
I'm going to just quickly
Has keyboard focus. New note.
type something.
Technology. Question.
So that says, how do blind people use technology? If you'd like to see the screen to prove that's what I wrote. The last piece of technology I'm going to be showing you is my Apple Watch. And I have this for 2 reasons. One, because all Apple devices sync with one another, so it makes it much easier for me to access anything whilst I'm on the go. But the second thing is that the navigation through Apple Maps is great. It uses haptics on your watch and lets you know through vibrations when you're using Apple Maps to turn left or right, meaning that I don't have to have my phone out in front of me carrying it. I can have it in my pocket, and when the turning comes up it will say through the watch, but it will also buzz on my wrist so I know whether to turn left or right. I feel as a blind user this is really useful, and one of the main reasons why I know my friends and I have all got the watch. Obviously the feature is a watch, so it's great for telling the time, and I use it for things like my heart rate and exercise that I do on a daily basis. It just keeps me motivated to do that 30 minutes or more of exercise a day. And here it is. Just like with all other Apple products, it has Voiceover built in, meaning that when I do touch it, it will talk to me. So if I press it now, it will tell me the time. So time of filming, it's 23:01. The great thing about Apple Watch I found is that if you have any other friends who've also got an Apple Watch, you can use the walkie-talkie app. So basically you just press that button. They have to accept you first, it's a bit like a friend request, and then once they've accepted you, you can live talk through your watch, and I had great fun playing with this when I first got it. That's just an extra little something. But the Apple Watch for me has given me greater freedom and independence with regards to using a watch. You know, it's a watch that for years I've not bothered with watches. There are braille watches out there, but they don't interest me. They're not that fashionable. At least with the iWatch, you know, you're looking fashionable as well as having a piece of technology that works in an accessible way. And this is why I choose Apple. Apple is at the forefront of accessibility and keeps its users in mind every time it releases a new product. It takes its users' feedback seriously and tries its absolute best to make everything accessible, whether they built the app or not. And that's exactly why I am an Apple fan. I know not everyone out there will agree with me, and you know, variety is the spice of life, but Apple is a go-to product for those with visual impairments and the people or the brand that I would recommend to my visually impaired friends. If you're new to visual impairment or been newly diagnosed and have an iPhone and want to know how to use basics like Voiceover, I do have a blog post written on it and I'll link it below. I hope you found this video informative, and particularly for those who may have clicked on this wondering just how do blind people use technology. I hope it's dispelled any myths or misconceptions you may have had, and if you have any questions, please leave them below. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you in the next week's video. Bye!